Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo.
Hello everyone and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host Stephen White, and if you saw on Twitter this week, we've been saying we had some big announcements, and I don't want to keep you waiting. I said I wouldn't. First, Todd is on vacation for the next 2 weeks. Yay! No, that's not the announcement. I'm kidding. I just happened to, wanted to let you know that he's going to be on vacation for the next 2 weeks. So you might think, oh, well, what's going to happen? Is Stephen going to be alone? Well, there's no better time to introduce the newest addition to the Super Mega Crash team. She's been a guest several times on the show. She's even joined us on our journey to PAX East earlier this year. She has a wonderful energy and great personality, and for me, that was a no-brainer. So I would like to welcome to the show the newest co-host and official Super Mega Crash sister, Lacey Finley.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting. This is going to be a lot of fun.
This is going to be great. And for everyone they should already know you. A lot of our listeners should, and anybody new will get to know you and probably love you just the same. And for the sake of clarification, like I said, she's going to be joining me for the next 2 weeks. She will not necessarily be here all the time. However, she will be a permanent fixture on the live version of the podcast that will be premiering on Twitch on October 21st. So myself, Lace, possibly Todd, I don't want to speak for him since he's not here, but we will be doing a live stream version of the podcast that will be different than what we're doing. There will be a lot of similarities, but we'll be doing different things to try and make it a different experience, but also somewhat familiar.
Yep, definitely a little bit more of an interactive
absolutely
podcast. It'll be a lot of fun. So definitely. What date was it? October 21st, yes?
October 21st.
Yes.
And that will give you, the audience, a chance to interact with us, to talk with us, to have your opinion heard. You know, when you're hearing us talking about a story and we give our opinions, now you can have your opinion heard as well. As she said, we're going to be playing some games. You know, we kind of do a few games here on the show. I'm going to try to extend that out to our audience and have a lot more audience participation. That's the idea behind it. You know, we want to get to know our audience a little bit more and make it a little bit more personal. So I feel like this is going to be a great idea. And, you're already a streamer, so yeah. I kind of felt like that was another no-brainer. Somebody who knew the field out there a little bit.
Kind of like the ins and outs of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I needed somebody who's a little bit more familiar, so I can be a little bit more comfortable with it instead of just jumping in head first with no experience on it. So, but yeah. I think it'll be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know how many times I've listened to the podcast and I want to join in so much. Mm-hmm. And now here's your opportunity. Have you been talking at the podcast going, oh, I want to interject or I want to add that to it? Now's your chance.
And also another bit for clarification. As of right now, there will be 2 versions of the show. So you'll have your audio podcast, which you get every week, and then you'll have the streaming podcast, which I'm pretty sure we're going to try to do that every week. I don't see any reason that we won't, but, you know, things happen. But the idea is for it to be every week, you know, video and audio. So if you like one and you prefer the other over the other, then you have choices for now. If anything changes over time and we feel maybe one is doing better than the other, we may fade out one. But I'm not gonna say that's a definite. Right now, I like to give our audience choices.
So definitely show up to whichever is your favorite one, or both.
Or both.
I
mean, if you do both, then we're working both angles and we're giving you a double dose.
Exactly.
And that would be the idea. I would hope is that if they're listening to the audio version and they want to go and check out the live version, even though there will be a little bit of cross-pollination it's not going to be the same show on both.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I kind of hope that you would take in all forms.
Take it all in, man. Take it all in.
Mm-hmm.
Get to see our bright, smiling faces once a week. And then if you're like, oh, I didn't appreciate that, you can just listen to the audio version.
Mm-hmm. And I will say that, you know, another idea that kind of brought this on is we kind of had a project we were working on that kind of fell through. So this, I don't know, all the pieces were kind of sitting there.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Why not keep this going, but just kind of change it a little bit? Let's try a different angle. And then it just kind of works out this way.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe that idea will flourish a little bit more than we even thought. So
yeah,
we'll keep put a pin in that one and keep on writing some ideas down.
And that's, I would love to go back to that. And I don't want to say anything for our listeners. You know, I want them to experience it when the idea is out there. But as of right now, it would have been a great idea. It was something I don't think you would have seen anywhere else that I can think of.
Right.
But
not in that format, right?
Not in that format. That's exactly right. So hopefully you'll get to see it at some point, whether it's in some form or another, it'll be out there where we can share it.
We're just keeping them all in suspense now.
Yeah, that's what we're good at. So, Lace, what have you been playing?
We Happy Few has been on the docket for a while. I know it's not a popular opinion to keep playing it seems, from all the reviews and stuff that I've seen out there, but I find I'm a little more forgiving on certain aspects on games than I think most people are. So I don't know. I kind of like it. I've been, I think the story, the atmosphere they created, the world, the graphics, the music, believe it or not, just really pulls it enough together for me to want to keep going. Haven't quite beaten it yet. I still got one character. I'm on the last one now. But I hear the gripes from the mechanics and the let's just add some really stupid stuff to try to make it seem like the game is a lot harder than what it is. But I've been really digging the story. I really do. I think they've intertwined the three people nicely. Created a different goal in mind for each one, although they're all, I guess, still trying to get to the same sort of end goal. Don't take the joy, try to live our lives, still all of that kind of stuff. Feel human. Be a human person instead of just taking these drugs to forget all of the bad things in the life. And yeah, I hear the gripes, but I tell you what, if you could just get through that story, I honestly think if they would have not tried to make it an open world kind of survival type game, that people would have been more receptive to it. Because the story itself, if they would have just made it that linear story and tried to take away the survival, open world kind of aspect to it, I think it would have been fantastic. I think that's just the place where they kind of screwed up on that in my mind.
Didn't they change it from an original concept? Like it was supposed to be something else, and then I guess its initial release was like, "What the hell is this?" And then they said, "Oh, let's change it."
I think so. Because I'll tell you, I bought it in early access almost 2 years ago to the date when it released, and this was before I truly understood early access. I'll be honest, because it was $30. Went ahead, bought it. Played it for a little bit and was extremely disappointed because really at that point, all it was they created the world for you to run around in. There was really no questing. There was no goal in mind. So kind of a bad first impression. So I shelved it and decided that I wanted to play it once it was fully released because first impressions are so huge. And I didn't want that to be the only thing in my brain as I was moving forward when they finally released it. So yes, I'm not sure if their original goal was to just be this open world survival type where you just picked up quests along the way and do it that way. But adding the story was huge. So I avoided a lot of spoilers. So I'm not sure what people's expectations were, honestly, up until that point, because I was so enthralled with what they were creating that I wanted to form my own opinion. But I'm happy with the end result. But yes, the mechanics are clunky. I feel like you take your joy and you're fine, right? If you're in the wrong clothes in this area, that means die. And everyone knows about it. And you've got to run and hide is pretty much the only mechanic to get everybody off from like hitting you with a frying pan or something to your death because, you know, or if you don't take your joy, it's to the death. If you don't hide properly, it's to the death. If you run, it's to the death. So it's like I feel like that got thrown in there just to make it seem like the game is hard. So right. I get why people are frustrated with that. But then a certain part of the story would kick in. The music would just be perfect for it. You know how like you get to the end of a game and you could feel the pace is starting to pick up and they really start to, that's where they hit their stride, which is why I think if they would have left this as a linear story, I think, sure, you probably would have had those people who were expecting the survival to be disappointed, but I think a lot more people would have been on board with it. And it just like, that's what keeps me going. It hit at the right spot. The pace picked up just perfectly, So I get it. I get why people are upset about it, but I'm forgiving on some of those aspects because the story and the world and the music and everything they created there was like enough to keep me interested to want to at least finish it one playthrough. I don't think I'd play it again. But I don't feel ripped off because I got in early access. So I don't know I can encourage the $60 price tag that they threw on it. So for $30, I feel like, I hit the sweet spot. It was fine. So maybe wait for a sale if you're really interested.
I mean, it looked interesting to me, but after hearing a lot of the bad stuff, I was like, yeah. It turned me away from it because it did. It's like you said, the look and the feel. Even the music from what I've gotten from trailers and stuff like that. The idea and the concept and overall look of it is appealing, but
it was different and like this Austin Powers kind of 60s feel, very bright and colorful, and the original music they wrote just fit it perfectly. And I feel like there was a lot of bugs. I didn't experience as many as I feel like some people that I know that played it. So I'm wanting to say those that I know that experienced more bugs were console. So I'm wondering if it was just a weird port over, because I want to say it was only going to be PC. I could be corrected. I'm not really confident in saying that, but I know originally I think it was for PC, and then when it released it was for everything. At least in the reviews that I've watched, it always had the controller prompts, so it leads me to believe that it was mostly console people that were having it. Sure, I've had bobbies stuck in the environment and things like that, but we also still buy Bethesda games, so I feel like it was not any more or so than what they put out, which we forgive because the stories are good and the world they create is immersive enough. So, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe the console just had way more bugs and more people were playing on console. I played it 100% on PC. So, yeah, I've experienced some, but nothing game-breaking. Nothing that really made me want to rage,
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I have been piddling around with a few different games. What do I got? Let's see. I've kind of been on a kick with Fallout Shelter for some reason.
That's a fun little game, though.
Yeah, it's like, I kind of pick it up at the end of every day. Like before I go to bed, I'll just sit down and be like, all right, let me check in on them and kind of play with them. But here lately, it's, I've been building up a lot of my people, like training them and stuff like that, so that a lot of them have their stats up. So I'll start sending out groups out into the field doing missions. And
see, I like that addition.
Yeah, I did too, because I think I played it when it first came out and they didn't have it. So when I noticed that, I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I've just been doing missions constantly now, so that's giving me more money, which is allowing me to build more. So this whole cycle, I can find myself playing it for an hour or more and just, losing myself into it because I'm like, all right, let me go do this, let me go do that, let me push this and that. And I don't realize it until I look at the time and I'm like, oh, I need to get to bed.
I think that was the first app game I ever threw money at. So I could get the robot that would pick up all of the electricity and the water and stuff while I was away.
But yeah, I've just kind of been lost in that. I messed around with Battleship. The little Ubisoft version of Battleship.
Okay.
Kind of fun. I mean, it's Battleship, so it's whatever you want.
Is it like the old board game, kind of?
Kind of, but they've added a few little things just to make the video game more interesting. But you can also play classic mode, so you don't have all the, I don't want to call them cheats, but bonus moves and things that you can do. So it's interesting. Was playing the Mega Man Legacy Collection 2 or Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2, and I was hoping that it would move me into Spider-Man.
Right.
And I got to Mega Man X7 and I just quit because I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. I think I'm done with this series. I think I'm done with this game because I'd been playing them constantly. So we're talking about 1 through 7 nonstop, just about. 7 changed the dynamic of the entire game itself, so it wasn't like a 2D scrolling platformer. They went into the 3D world with a little 2D on the side.
Yeah.
And there was just something about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just not feeling this. I'm turning it off. I can't do it.
I kind of do the same with 3D platformers. I feel like no one has quite hit the nail on the head just perfectly with a 3D platformer. Camera angles and all this kind of stuff just get so distorted and warped that it makes it, well, for me, you've seen me play games. Yeah. I get lost quite easily. I need mini maps and stuff. But yeah, it's just something about that. It's like they're right on the cusp, but they just, nobody has quite figured it out yet to make it 3D really work where I feel satisfied finishing that game and going, that really worked out for me. Instead of me getting in a corner and you can't fix that camera angle at all and you can't figure out how to turn around or get anywhere like that. Yeah, the mechanics behind it, I guess they haven't mastered yet.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd really like to finish it because I paid money for it. I'd like to get through it at some point. I guess I just got burnt out to the point where it was like, I just need a change. I need to do something different. And maybe I'll go back to it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Because I even platinumed the first game in the series, like the first collection.
Oh, good job.
And I thought, I'll do this one too. It's not going to happen because they threw in some nonsensical trophies and I can't. I don't have it in me anymore. You know, I'm getting old.
I was going to say, I never could trophy hunt too well. If I managed to get it along the way, nice.
Yeah.
But if I beat the game, I'm usually pretty satisfied at that. You know?
I'll look at the lists, and if I feel like it's attainable in some way, I'll usually go for it. If there's a trophy that says beat the game on hard mode, I guarantee I'm going to say no. Because I'm going to play it in normal, I'm going to beat it in normal, and then I'm going to be done with it.
Right.
If you're going to make me replay it in hard, I'm not going to do it. I want to enjoy it one time.
You don't just start on hard mode?
No. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
At least I don't go to casual.
Right. Not that there's anything wrong with it, guys.
No. But I mean, I do want a challenge, but I don't want the game to just crush my soul to the point where I can't enjoy it. You know, that's just not me. So if any time I can look at a list and it says, that looks attainable, like go collect all this and go collect all that, I can do that.
Sure.
But if it's play it in hard or crushing difficulty, no, I'm not doing it.
Like you unlock this after you've beat it on hard. It's like, well, at that point I'm already crying, so why would I want to do it again?
It's like, or throw my controller. Here
we go, like play it on crushing, but you only get 3 saves.
Yeah, screw that.
Right?
No.
I am a save scummer for life. I'm sorry. You give me that option and I'm gonna do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But,
no shame.
Outside of that, obviously I played Spider-Man, but we'll talk about that later. And then the last thing I actually got into was Graveyard Keeper, which
such a great game.
I do want to talk about, but I think we'll save that for next week.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. But that's all I've been playing. So what about we get into some news?
Let's get into some news. This is how I learn about my gaming week.
Yeah. Well, we've got I'd say we got a good little bit of news. I mean, there were some interesting stuff that came out because we had PAX West. Yeah. And you imagine that we would have had more PAX West news in the way of games released or announced, but there was actually a few other interesting things that happened, like a controversy that came about with Riot Games when they announced an event during the expo that essentially excluded men.
Interesting.
Now, according to Riot, these were workshops for women and non-binary people meant to help recruit them specifically into gaming. It was even clarified that all the activities within the event would be open to everyone at a certain point in time during the show. But despite that, the male half of the population was none too pleased, blew up on Reddit because that's what we do today.
Mm-hmm.
So many of the posts and threads went from voicing feelings of exclusion at an event that they paid for, which I can understand that argument. You
Right.
paid to be there and you're cutting me out. What the hell? I
Right.
get that. But then it devolved into, hateful, toxic comments where
As they do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there were even and something else that somebody even pointed out were actual recent allegations that happened at Riot for sexual or sexism in the company.
I was actually going to say, do you think that was their way of trying to placate the, yeah. Because I definitely read about that, where apparently it's really toxic for women to work there. Now, granted, this is all going off of the new stuff that I have read. No personal,
Sure. So something tells me that this was their way of trying to counter that and be like, oh, we're going to try and make our image look better. We're trying to do this workshop for the women in the non-binary and look, we're better.
Mm-hmm.
We're not toxic anymore. And, no one's buying it. But I don't know. I kind of feel like the way that it was handled, where it started might have been a good idea. But then once you start getting into hateful speech and just name calling and just hateful things.
Well, this is from the audience, right? Or from the consumers.
Right.
Yeah.
No. I mean, Riot did kind of throw out there a few name calling, like they called them man babies and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say that they're in the
that
wrong,
doesn't help.
It doesn't help. All you're doing is feeding the fire. So, I kind of feel like here in general, you tell me, I'd love to meet a man who has generally experienced some form of sexism in his life,
And is aware of it, though, too.
Is aware of it, yeah. To feel like he has been excluded because he is a man and been treated as such in just a hateful manner because he's a man. I don't think there is one male alive that has. And I could be wrong. I'm just giving my opinion, but I have never experienced it, so I cannot speak to the idea of what it's like to feel excluded because of my gender.
I will say it's probably happened. And probably for the wrong reason of the fact of maybe like a quota here or there or something like that. But again, were they aware of it? Let's say they applied for the job or for college or something like that. And you need those, quotas that, that these places do fill to be diverse. So I'm sure they have, but definitely not to the same extent that women or LGBTQ or any of them have experienced, where we can actually go, here's the proof.
Yeah.
This is what happened. It's not like the guy who tried to apply for a job at Hooters, sure. Right. Okay. That's
I mean, I feel like in this situation, the only place I could actually stand is I paid for this and you're cutting me out. But at the same time, there's a part of my brain personally that feels like I could understand what they're doing. And they didn't say that, oh, you can't be in here at all. They just said, we've got a time that we're kind of setting aside and you can come back later. And I'm like, okay, there's plenty to do. I'll come back later. So I don't know. I mean,
I don't think that we should combat it with the same thing and the opposite. So, although I can appreciate what they were trying to do by doing the same thing and excluding the other side, it may not have been the best approach because now you're still doing it. It's just,
yeah,
it's kind of hypocritical, I guess,
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, anybody's got any comments, please,
yeah.
Hit us up. We'd love to hear them. This is where the show is going to be so good.
See?
We see everybody.
You'll get to yell at us in real time, man.
That's right. You're wrong.
And then we'll cry and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Now, on a similar subject, this is hot on the heels of the announced partnership between Square Enix and Tencent, which was said to be a very strategic move to pursue new IPs. We'll see if that's happening.
Actually the case, yeah.
Yeah. Accusations against one of Tencent's global community managers, Nick Zazowski, was made public, which led to his immediate suspension from the company, pending an investigation. Apparently, Zazowski had been sending unsolicited sexual photos to a number of his coworkers for over 6 years.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and once the accusations were actually posted by one person, many others chimed in saying he had done the same to them. And this wasn't even people from Tencent, but many in the industry, from game developers to even Twitch streamers.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, there was actually a name, and I cannot remember. I feel like I've seen her on my feed, but I can't remember her name.
One of the ones who came out about it?
Yeah. I know she's a big streamer.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure. Probably easy Google.
Yeah. But anyways, Zazowski has since shut down all of his social media accounts, and I'd say it's a safe bet to say his career is practically over at this point, because no one's going to hire that chump unless they're like him. Yeah. And then all that does is kind of, point them out.
And I'm always just curious as to what goes through anyone's brain that thinks that's a good idea. Like, I know what I'm going to do with my time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to, like, who's that benefiting in any way? And
why
do you think we want it? Like, I don't understand.
There's a point to where you have to say, did they ask for this?
Mm-hmm.
And where in your brain do you just think, I'm going to do that, and I guarantee they'll like it.
It's going to be great.
I don't get it. So, yeah.
Save it for Tinder, folks.
Exactly. This is not just regular workplace stuff. But anyway, we're gonna pass past all that. Jesus, these people.
One day.
Anyway, we're gonna shift gears a little bit now. As much as I am a fan of Sony and their game console, I have to say that arrogance is not a very good thing, and I feel like it's gonna be their downfall. Because what I'm talking about specifically is, there's been a lot of talk about the cross-play idea. Everybody wants them to kind of get in on the Fortnite action and be the cross-platform or cross-play. And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes down to this option, if they don't want to do it, they don't have to do it. It's their choice.
Right.
Their company, their choice. I feel like, though, in this regard, it's how they've presented their why behind it that gives it this kind of arrogance, because they were asked, or they actually, there was an interview with the big CEO of the company, Kenshiro Yoshida, and he basically said the reason Sony will not do crossplay for Fortnite is because they're the best.
No.
We are the best place to play Fortnite. We don't see any reason to play Fortnite anywhere else, so no. And that was pretty much what it boiled down to.
So, I mean, it's on every single platform known to man. Mm-hmm. Makes about $250-something million a month for a free-to-play game. Yep. But they're the best place for that experience.
Okay. They are the best, yeah. Now, he goes on to say they're always looking to offer the best experience for all games, and did point out that some of their games are, in fact, cross-platform already, and said Rocket League.
Okay.
But Rocket League is only cross-platform with PC, not Xbox and Nintendo Switch.
Ah, okay.
So do you kind of see this pattern, I think, that's forming here? Because they said, no, we've got others, Rocket League, and I'm sure there were some others, but it's only with PC. They have no cross-platform games with any other consoles. Just PC.
Yeah.
So something tells me this is kind of a console war move. It's like, we're not going to work with these other consoles that we're in competition with. The hell with that.
I mean, I was a little bit more understanding when they were talking about we're not allowing it, like specifically with Fortnite anyway, because I know that's what kind of brought all of this to, its knees. When they were like, but you can be buying your skins on one store, using it here. So from like, as greedy as it sounds, they're still a company. They're still trying to make money. And that I kind of understood. As a consumer, sure, it sucks. And I totally see both sides. But when it was, when they were making that argument, I was a little bit more like, well, okay, like I kind of get it, because you're still in the market to make money and you're not trying to just let me spend my $30 on Xbox and then you said $30 over on the PlayStation. Like, does it suck from our point? Absolutely, but I got it. But with hubris now, I don't, I mean, it is still one of the top selling consoles, is it not? So I guess right now.
I mean, what's it going to hurt just for one game? It's not like all
I just think they should be allowed to log into their Epic account. Like that, I agree with.
Oh, yeah. No, I absolutely
But
agree
that
with
still,
that
I
as well.
guess, falls along the same line of logging into your Epic account on one platform, buying your skins, and then logging back in on the other one. But just access to the account, I think, was what people were really just asking for.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was one of the bigger arguments that I heard. It was like, why can't we just get our accounts linked and that's it? You know, if I can't take my stuff over, fine, but just link the account.
Right.
So I don't have to make two. So
my progress is coming over, yeah.
I can agree with that. So, but, well, we'll see. I just don't feel like Sony's ever going to budge unless they actually drop to the point where they need to be lifted up. So
I mean, they still, I don't know, they got a lot of great exclusives and things like that. So I still feel like... I don't know, because I'm that way. I have my PC, I have my PlayStation 4. I've not felt the need for any other console yet because anything that comes with Xbox, I've been able to get on PC or games that I would be interested in anyway, plus more, you know?
Yeah.
And then all the exclusives on PlayStation. So I'm that category of person where I'm like, I'm not going to buy another console. I don't see the need. Switch, on the other hand, that's another topic and maybe something later, but I don't feel the need to buy the other ones.
Sure.
So they've kind of got me there because, I mean, look at all the ones that are coming out later this year that's just for PlayStation. I'm going to want to play them. Mm-hmm. And I can't get it anywhere else. So
I feel like they need to take a step back and think, you know, if we allow this, we're going to look so much better. As opposed to just seeming arrogant. Just take the hit.
Or get a better speechwriter, I guess, for your public statements.
For sure. Now, granted, I did kind of, you know, spitball it, but it was in essence, that's what they said.
Right.
We're the best because we're the best.
Like we've already sold however many tens of millions of consoles. People love us. We're going to be fine kind of response.
Yeah. Next story I've got is we actually mentioned this last week that Henry Cavill mentioned that he was interested in playing Geralt of Rivia in the Witcher series. And I guess they heard him and said, all right, yes, you're in. So he is officially now Geralt of Rivia.
I think it's going to be good. I don't know.
I'm interested. I mean, currently, as of right now, no one else has been cast, but Netflix did give an indication on when the series would premiere, which I guess is sometime next year. All it said was 2019.
Okay.
So they've got a good solid year to get it.
Might be like a summer Netflix blockbuster kind of thing. I don't know.
Now, the internet's divided on this. Some are digging it, some are loathing it. One tweet that I read actually summed it up perfectly for me. He said, we all pictured someone as our perfect Geralt. Give him a chance.
Right.
And I'm like, yes, exactly. Now, I think I said last week, I heard, you know, that news and the question was posed to me, what do you think? I wasn't against it. He wouldn't have been my first choice immediately, but I didn't think, oh, God, no. It was just, yeah, sure. Okay.
I don't know that I had anyone particularly in mind, but I know I reserve judgment now because I've had to eat crow about certain actors being cast in other roles in the past. So Heath Ledger is the first thing that comes to mind. I remember when I heard him being cast as the Joker that I lost my mind, and then I saw it and I went, oh, crap. Okay, he really nailed that. I don't know. Like, they both have this stone-faced, stalwart man beast thing going on. So I mean, let's give it a shot, guys. It comforts me to know that he's a fan of the series and the books.
Yes.
Like it's not just he played the games and was a fan.
And that's another thing too that I think is, you know, misleading a lot of people's judgments immediately is they're thinking of the video game series, right, not the book series,
which is what the series is going to be based on, right? Yep.
Right. So I kind of feel like that their choices are going to be more focused on whatever the books have made it out to be. So I don't see this choice being just made lightly. Like they just saw that interview and said, yeah, that'll work. I'm sure there was some thought that kind of went into it. Be like, you know what, that actually kind of
It
would
does
be
bring
good.
some star power to it, though, too. I mean, I know people tend to forget about that, but a lot of the times with casting and stuff, we get mad about it, but it sometimes boils down to the money, too. Like, I mean, people, he's still a very sellable actor, and I think he does well in the things that he's been cast in my own opinion. And that could help bring a lot more eyes to that series. More people might be tuning in now that probably never even heard of The Witcher, read The Witcher, any of that kind of stuff from a business standpoint.
Yeah, I heard that he was top notch in, was it the Mission Impossible movie?
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I feel so bad.
I haven't seen it either.
I heard he killed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that mustache was worth it.
Right? That they had to transpose out of that. That's still so funny to me.
Yeah.
What we do for AAA stars, I tell you.
But anyway, I'm down for it. I'm ready to see what he can do with it. So
did you see that Photoshop someone did of him?
Yeah.
Because people are like, I can't picture it, you know? And then someone had done this. I wish I could give credit to whoever it was, had done this Photoshop putting Henry Cavill's face in Geralt's face. And it looked really good. So everybody who keeps saying, like, he doesn't look the part, like, give it a minute, guys. Makeup and all this kind of stuff does wonders. You know, it's kind of like when people got all upset about who did the Nathan Fillion Uncharted fan film thing.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's too old. Like, but we can make people look older and younger now, unfortunately, for those who are age correct, if you're going for the role. But I mean, I think he killed it, and I think he auditioned well, and I think he made his case.
I mean, yeah, there's they do wonders. The fact that I've seen Marvel movies here recently de-age actors.
Oh my God, right?
From what I've heard, I think in the next movie they're coming out with, Captain Marvel, they're going to completely de-age Sam Jackson for the entirety of the film he's in it. And I've already seen pictures, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, that's Sam Jackson like from the 90s.
Well, I mean, we don't even need the actors to be alive anymore.
It's starting to seem that way.
I mean, you know, it's almost a little scary from like an artist standpoint. Like, it's like we don't even really need the actors anymore. I'm sure it costs a ton, so we shouldn't fear for actors' jobs anytime soon. But like in Guardians of the Galaxy, when I saw him in the first opening scene, I'm like, that kind of looks like, why am I forgetting his name now?
Kurt Russell.
Thank you. I'm like, that kind of looks like him. And then as the movie went on, I'm like, oh my God. That was totally him, making him look younger the whole time. Holy crap.
Or we can, I mean, you even mentioned bringing people back from the dead. Let's not forget what they did in Rogue One.
Exactly.
They brought back an actor who's been dead for years.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
And Netflix has the budget, I would imagine. So let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, let's get back on track because we're trailing off on dead people. Quick hits. You time for some quick hits?
I feel like I'm supposed to say quick hits.
There you go.
For
Good
Todd's
job. Part. First of all, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild is now the best-selling game in the series in Japan.
Oh wow!
Which makes me wonder what the best-selling one is here in America. Because if I had to guess, it would be Ocarina of Time, guaranteed.
Probably. That one did really well.
Yeah, it's always everyone's go-to. Not mine personally. It is up there.
Right.
But it's just not my number one choice. But I do love it. So, good for Breath of the Wild. I guess it earned that Game of the Year. EA's FIFA series is now the best-selling sports franchise of all time.
Oh, interesting.
I wouldn't have guessed soccer was that popular, but what do I know?
You know what, though? The States is pretty much the only country that's not super into soccer or football, as it's actually called everywhere else but here. So I'm not really that surprised about it, actually.
I mean, I shouldn't be. I guess we're just so subjected to football and Madden and football.
Well, that's what our news is here in the States. Yeah.
So, okay, cool. I didn't think about it like that. You got a very good point.
We're the only country that doesn't really show it,
Ubisoft added a new game plus to Far Cry 5 as well as an infamous difficulty level. See, that's what I'm not doing. I'm not doing that. I'll play it once in normal and I'm good. But for those who want to subject themselves to that, good for you.
There you go.
New details emerged about Cyberpunk 2077, like a character customization option that seems important from what I heard, considering that NPCs will actually react to your fashion choices.
What?
So I thought that was really cool.
I'm so excited for that game.
They even said you'll have the ability to purchase new homes. So I guess you'll have different spots around the map and whatnot.
Now, like in-game purchase or real money purchase?
I'm going to assume in-game.
Okay.
So you're not going to just... But I could be wrong. If they do that, then that's terrible. I would hope they don't do that.
As long as it's not a need for the game, then fine.
Yeah.
You know? But...
Sure. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I saw that, was it like an hour-long video?
Yeah, about 48 minutes. Yeah. Oh, I so want to play
solid.
that game.
I mean, I wasn't sure what I thought about it at first, and then you just start hearing bits as to who is involved and start looking at it. It's like, oh, all right.
Well,
and then you
CD
actually
Projekt
see it.
Red has done really well with RPGs, so I'm excited to see it.
And it's new, so we'll see.
A new IP, finally. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. BioWare also released similar information about their game Anthem, saying it will, too, feature character customization, and that all post-launch story content will be free.
Nice.
So that's a unique spin on things,
right? We don't get to hear that enough nowadays.
However, they didn't really specify what the price tag for this game is going to be, so they could plop down $89.99 and be like, "Yep, it's still going to be free though."
That's fair. So, like those who buy the season passes, where you won't have to worry about the storylines in the future. I got you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But again, that would be a low thing to do. So we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, as games start hiking so much in price now, it starts to hit you in the feels when they keep upping the new release prices on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be a topic for our show, our live show, because I've got some stuff to say about that.
Yeah.
Capcom revealed 2 new Robot Masters that will be featured in Mega Man 11. Their names are Impact Man and Bounce Man, because that's how they roll in those games. You know?
Guess
we don't
one
really
takes
give them
impact.
It's just like, because if you look from I think it was part 1 and part 2, they had 2 characters that were essentially the same character in essence. You had Fireman and Heat Man. What do? They shoot fire. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we need another fireman. What are we going to call him? Flame Man. We figured it out. So that's all they do. They just word man. Yeah. We got it.
Sweet.
But hey, if you want to play it right now, there's a demo available now. So I think I meant to go look that up, and I never did. I'm going to have to go do that after this. Let's see. If you were actually hoping to see esports at the Olympics, well, it's not going to happen. Because the Olympics Committee refused to consider it because of violence contained within most competitive video games. So, no Fortnite at the Olympics.
Yeah, you know what, though? I'm fine with that. I mean, the Olympics has always been about the physical, amazing feats that you can do as a human outside of these things, you know? So I'm not really sad about that, actually, at all.
I feel like that would have been like we're going to say it, the popular category at the Academy Awards. It's just like, we'll give that to you because I guess that's what we need to do. And then I'm sure there are some people out there that have been like, good, great, we're getting this for the Olympics. I'm still not going to think it's worth a damn, because you're saying, okay, so we're going to give you a pity category for all of you other people who cannot get off your couch to work like the rest of these people to do your thing. There are already competitions for video games. We don't need it in the Olympics.
Right. No, I agree with this one. I feel like that should be a firm stance.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Ubisoft's Rayman character is going to be dropping into Brawlhalla, which I've never played, which actually disappointed some gamers because some thought he was going to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and they feel like this is dashed that hope. So, I don't know. Brawlhalla seems like a Smash Brothers ripoff. Just from what I've seen, I could be wrong, but...
Yeah, I've never played it either. I feel like I downloaded it. I intended to, because it's free, and then I just never got around to it.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, it just... From what I've seen, I would rather just play the the
Yeah,
real thing.
right.
I hate to say it like that. It might be fun. I don't know. Hate me in the comments.
Right. Directed to P.O. Box, Stephen White.
Mm-hmm. Subnautica is getting a standalone expansion called Sub-Zero. Did you ever play that?
I didn't. Honestly, it didn't really look like it looks like a really nice, calm, sort of relaxing game, but I've watched it a ton. I've watched it a ton, and it just doesn't look like something I personally can get into. Now, if it was, I think it's VR too, right? Like, I feel like the VR might be cool. Or were they talking about VR?
I don't know if they've done that. I can't speak to say yes or no.
Or maybe I always said if it was in VR, it might be more interesting to me. I could be making all of this up, but
comment on her as well.
Right. Everyone, gosh,
no. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I guess I've not really seen enough of it to say yay or nay as to whether I'd want to play it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's out there.
People like it.
More. Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Bloodborne is going to be getting a board game. How about that?
What? Nice.
Yeah. You know what else is getting a board game?
No.
Fortnite.
Oh,
it's going to be
what?
a Monopoly game. Because why not?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that was a matter of time. It was going to happen because everything becomes Monopoly.
I don't know. I kind of could see it better as like a card game.
Maybe, yeah. I can see that.
I don't know. I don't think I'd play it either, but
no, I'm not.
Because you drop the cards, you know, like you were coming in from the parachute.
Yeah.
And you could just fling them at each other until however many paper cuts you get. I win.
And they're just like, this is not the card game I thought it was going to be.
No. Okay, I've trademarked that, by the way, guys. Nobody go out and steal my idea.
You need to get on that.
Really fast.
Each card says bullet,
right.
bullet, grenade.
Wall! Just throw up cards in front of your face. You can't hit me when the card's here.
Don't copyright that. That's ours.
Right.
Party Hard 2 will drop this Halloween.
Oh, nice.
Did you ever play the first one?
I did.
That was a very interesting game.
It was. It sucked me in because of the Hotline Miami vibes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Valve may be looking into making video games again based on recent statements. What do you think about that?
I mean, you know, everyone's going to start saying Half-Life 3.
Yeah, I think that's where everyone went immediately.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Half-Life.
I mean, I'm never opposed to anybody make more games. Let's get more competition out there. Let's get some more ideas out there. You know, I mean, they've got the money to hire some really great developers and things like that. So
that's true.
I mean,
they have their own exclusive platform. So
I mean, we all pretty much as PC gamers probably use the crap out of Steam already. I mean, it's kind of that and like maybe one or two other launchers that is your go-to for games.
Yeah. So we'll see how that develops. And finally, Sony is ending all tech support for its PS2 consoles.
I saw that.
I thought that would have been dead already.
I kind of did too. I figured we were close to ending the PS3 support before,
But no, if you have a PS2 and it's on its last legs, you better get it in now because Sony's not going to support it any longer.
Or you're going to just rebuy the games that's remastered for whatever this console, you know.
Yeah, or have been remade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's either remade or repolished HD.
Just slap a new dress on that.
Mm-hmm.
Put it out on the next console. I know I've done it, unfortunately.
Yeah. At some point, those need to just roll over.
Well, if the backwards compatibility thing ever would have actually worked out, you know, it's just you look at all the... I understand the feels. You look at all your PS1, PS2 games that it's just like, the only way I'll ever get to play them again. Unless you're one of those that goes around, you know, probably the wrong way with an emulator or something like that, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's another topic we're going to be talking about on the show as well.
Yeah.
See, I'm giving you guys things to look forward to.
Little hints, man. Little spoilers here or there.
Little things. All right. Well, I've got two more stories for you. The first, we've actually not talked about the loot box controversies for some time, mainly because I thought they'd been settled. However, with Belgium finally enforcing their loot box ban, 2K Games has been a little bit more vocal about the situation. Their senior producer of NBA 2K19, Rob Jones, said in an interview that every game is always trying to get additional revenue from each of its players and argued that loot boxes aren't a straight money grab and can offer important optional additions. He used Overwatch as a prime example and also pointed out that players need the option to get ahead, mainly because some people just don't have time for the grind. Now, Jim Sterling, if any of you know who he is, pointed out very clearly in one of his videos recently about this topic that developers are responsible for that grind.
Yeah.
So you can't use that as an excuse. And I would 100% agree with that. 2K Games then pleaded in a letter to Belgian gamers to ask their lawmakers to rescind this decision because this changes their games and it will be an inconvenience.
Oh, so like the people of Belgium are like, hey, wait, we want this?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, apparently they do. So
because usually
2K...
you always hear the opposite.
Mm-hmm. But, 2K's losing money here. They can't charge them for loot boxes, and they're not.
But does it have to be a loot box? Can't they just be like, fine, I'm purchasing this thing? I don't know. I thought the whole hubbub was that it was gambling. Like, you're spending this money, but you really don't know what you're going to get, if anything at all. I thought that was the problem.
That is the problem. But I don't understand. I think the way they view it is if they offer up this special thing immediately, that's a one-time purchase, versus the loot box system where you throw down $5, you get X amount of boxes. You might not get what you want, and then you'd be like, go back in and grab a few more, and you just keep that cycle going. They know what they're doing. They just, they're mad that someone has put an end to it. And I kind of feel like once this kind of gets enforced harder in Belgium, which I don't think they'll ever budge. I don't think that their plead is going to matter. So if that continues to happen across the board, eventually other countries are going to be like, you know what? I agree. I'm going to do that. Aren't
they like
too.
The second or third now country to put a ban down on it?
I think they were the first to actually put it down, like to really enforce it.
Oh,
and
like where
other countries followed suit.
Okay.
They were from what I remember talking about last year, they were the ones to say, no, absolutely not. We're done with this. Mm-hmm. And they stirred it all up. So other countries and states have followed suit. So I don't think this is going to work out for them. No one wants loot boxes.
And again, I guess that goes back to the thing where it's just like your own moral code, right? As far as in PvP games to pay to win kind of thing. Like, I'm against it. I feel like with PvP, it should all be based down to your skill and what you've earned and things like that. And if you want to change your gun from black to blue and buy that, then whatever. Yeah. But to pay to get an advantage just because you don't want to play the game. The whole point is playing the game, right? Yeah.
You got to play the game.
Play it to get better and then have fun that way instead of buying, whatever gun will just take it down to 2 hits. It's like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But again, that's up to each individual and how their conscience plays, I guess, for them.
Right. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'll move along. 24 years after this game's release, someone unearthed a long-hidden Easter egg in the game Doom 2.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. Apparently, the only way to win the game properly is to achieve 100%, which I had to think on that for a minute. It's been a long time since I played that game, and I didn't remember the 100%, and then it kind of faded back to my memory. I don't know. Anyway, something that I assumed had been accomplished at this point, technically never had. To win the game 100%, you had to enter a teleporter on level 15, but it's a teleporter that doesn't work when you're there. Like, you walk into it and nothing happens, so you're just like, oh, okay. Well, there have been modders and cheaters, obviously, that have torn apart the game. They have accessed all these areas, so it's been seen, but no one has actually seen the proper way to go through it. A YouTuber by the name of Zero Master discovered the trick and accessed this teleporter without cheating. All it takes is to be pushed into the teleporter by an enemy. And that's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So out of all these years, that's never accidentally happened for someone?
Apparently not.
Wow. Okay.
And I actually kind of wondered about that too. I was like, what if it happened and no one really knew it was
that
a
was
secret.
they
were just like they played it once, it happened, and it was like, huh.
Oh, okay.
And they just moved along. It's like,
I
well,
probably would have.
Yeah, because back then no one really cared.
Right?
It was just, today it's all about the achievements. But anyway, this news was actually so monumental to the series creator, John Romero. He actually applauded him for a job well done, mentioned it all on Twitter. He's like, this is the last Easter egg, and someone finally got it.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's pretty cool. I would have never imagined that there was still a secret left into an old game, which kind of begs the question, are there other games out there that we're missing? Something?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Because I even hear about a lot of these hidden messages hidden into the code that hackers find, and I always found those fascinating, especially when you try to figure out what the meaning behind them is.
Right.
Because it could just be some odd little phrase or code or something like that. So, anyway, truth or trash time. Are you ready?
Trash. I am.
I've only got 2.
I've remained ignorant all week for this moment. No.
All right. I've only got 2.
Okay.
But I think they're good. Okay, first, truth or trash. Universal Orlando is developing a theme park for The Legend of Zelda.
I'm going to go truth. This seems like something they would totally do. They've got the money for it. And since you just mentioned how big it was in Japan, for sure, I think that, and I actually think that would be quite cool. I'm going to say truth.
All right. What would you envision for this?
Oh,
do you imagine it just being the land of Hyrule and a theme park?
Kind of. And of course, let's make, all of the levels that you go into, which could be all of the different shops and obviously shows and obviously cosplay would be happening all the way throughout. Maybe even an arcade. So you could play the game. I think there'd be plenty of opportunities for some neat rides. And those immersive experiences, what do they call them? That Disney's really well known for and everything.
4D theater.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the chairs that shake around and
Yeah. Death Mountain needs to be the roller coaster.
There you go.
Yeah. That would be awesome. Okay. So truth. All right. Well, we'll see how that pans out.
Okay.
Next one, Diablo 3 will release on the Nintendo Switch on the very first day of BlizzCon 2018.
That would be a good hype system to do. That would. I'll say truth. I'll say truth on that one too, because I feel like that would be a really smart marketing play.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as you have demos available and stuff there as well. Hell yeah.
That's true. Do you think the Switch could run it?
Well, I don't think probably the same way that it would on other systems, because I think the Switch, it doesn't run at the same speeds and stuff because of just the internal makings of it. But I think they could get a version of it to work. And I think with the Switch too, that could be cool, more interactive. You got the Wii things I called it Wii. Because they're going back to the Wii. I used to have a Wii. But yeah, the Joy-Cons. Thank you. Yeah, to do your shooting and blocking or whatever. Yeah, that could be cool. Okay. Dangerous, but.
Well, there you go. There's your truth or trash. Now it's time for some weird news. I've got, oh boy, some of the stuff I'm telling you. Okay, so we were talking about PAX West earlier. And if you actually attended PAX West and you let it be known that you were a fan of Fortnite, everybody's favorite game, then it was a good bet you got yourself an exclusive code for an in-game spray. Okay. I don't know what the spray does.
Yeah, no.
What is it? Beats me. I don't know. But there's a spray. Now, if you're one of the unlucky few who didn't get one, or maybe you didn't attend PAX West at all, but you must have this item, you can go to eBay right now and get one for a few $100.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Because humans.
I wanna meet someone who paid $100 for this spray.
Might be the same one who paid $15,000 for the PS3. Back when they were never going to create anymore. I know you can't see my sarcasm face at home, but
It's clearly coming through. But yeah, don't be a schmuck. Yeah, I mean, is a spray really worth $100?
If you've just got FU money, then you know what? More power to you, man.
I mean, if that makes you feel better and just higher than mighty, I don't know. Fine.
Yeah.
Next thing I've got, while we're on the subject of Battle Royale games, it's widely known that they are the new gaming fad everyone has to throw their hat into. And with many trying their hand at it, there's a point where I kind of feel like you really can't tell one from the other. They're just the same shoot 'em and things and whatnot. So, case in point, Last Tide. This is a Battle Royale shooter that takes you underwater against your friends, and you have to fend off sharks as well. So you're shooting underwater, you're collecting and gathering underwater, but you're also being hunted by sharks.
Can I throw a starfish?
I don't know, but we should throw that in there.
We need to at least put that in there as an idea, you know. Ninja starfish.
Wow. But I mean, all the tropes for these kind of games are there. It's just with sharks. And
okay.
For whatever reason, when I'm envisioning this in my head, it looks so poor. Like a poorly made, cheap rush job.
So we've just got an idea right now, right? We have no screen captures or anything of this?
There could be.
Okay.
I'm not going to swear to it, but I'm going to assume it's well within the production phase where they know what they've got going on, that they have something.
Okay.
But I didn't look any up. That's what I see in my head. A cheap, terrible, garbage game. I could be wrong. This could be the next Fortnite. This could be the next thing.
You're just going to say, I never would have seen Fortnite taking off the way that it did either, but that's just different strokes, different folks, you know.
And that's one of the things that it blows my mind when I look back on this show last year when we were first starting, because it was all PUBG, and we had little John Taylor sitting there going, Fortnite, dude, Fortnite, and we're like, okay, not believing a word, and he was on it, and now here we are. It blows my mind. I never would have guessed.
So everybody, you start off on a ship and then you have to scuba dive at a particular time, or do you still skydive in?
I'm just going to assume you fall into the ocean.
Or maybe you start off in a submarine and then you release yourself at the right time.
Okay, yeah, it could work. I mean, there's got to be a way you get in the water. And with these games, I don't really imagine there's
you
a lot
hatch from an egg in the water at a random place.
Born in the water.
I want to be where the people are. Sorry.
It's okay. But yeah, so we'll keep our eyes on this. We'll let you know what we think of this weird thing. And again, you thought we're done talking about Battle Royale games.
Never.
Think again. No, because this time we're looking at the granddaddy that we just talked about, PUBG. If you're still enjoying this game, which I don't think anyone is, but hey, I don't know. I've never played it.
Probably got their diehard people.
The team at Xbox Australia may have something special for you if you're looking for something unique. They are creating a limited edition controller complete with a urethane coat that makes it impervious to scratches, water, and wouldn't you know, even chicken grease.
Chicken grease?
Yeah, because it's all about that chicken dinner, right?
I didn't even make the connection until you said that.
So, if you want a chance at one of the 200 being made, then you got to head over to their Facebook page and enter for a chance to win. Now, my first thought looking into this was, what human being is actually playing this game while eating a bucket of chicken? And then I remembered the world we live in, and I said, no, I'm not surprised. So I can just see, I got to get my chicken, and I'm just trying to work two hands. And but chicken grease.
I just feel like there was probably way too many posts like, man, my controller just keeps getting all slippery. If they only made something that I could just like keep a hold of this thing while I'm playing.
And then these guys were like, you know what? We got something here. They should have, instead of letting people win, they should have just been, hey, we're just going to set this out here. Limited edition run with a high price tag. and see what happens. I guarantee you that it sold them all.
Oh, I'm sure. And throw in the random chance for like a KFC gift card.
Oh, God, yeah.
Come on, we like to eat. Good job, guys.
Yeah. All right. It is time for...
I'd buy that for $1.
A whole dollar American?
A whole dollar. I'm going to see if I can sell this wonderful little item to you.
Okay.
Now, I've asked this question on the show before, but not to you. Mm-hmm. Do you like Fallout?
I do.
Okay, good.
I do.
Of course you do. Who doesn't? Now, what about
game.
rum? Do you like rum?
Drinking rum? Big fan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what if I could combine these two things together? Would that interest you?
I'm already, sold. Just take my money.
Okay.
What do I got to do?
I'm going to present to you Nuka Dark Rum, an alcoholic take on Nuka-Cola developed from a partnership by Bethesda and the Silver Screen Bottling Company. Now, checking in with an ABV percentage of 35,
Ooh.
This drink will temporarily increase your strength and endurance by 1, but drops your perception equally by 1. Chilled or room temp, it doesn't matter how you take it, this classic tropical rum exhibits flavors of molasses and vanilla with notes of coconut, perfect for sipping or mixing with your favorite cocktail. Might I suggest a Nuka Mai Tai or even a Nuka Painkiller?
Or a Nuka Rum Runner.
Ooh. Now, sealed within a 750 milliliter dark rocket ship bottle, this 70-proof masterpiece is perfect for rum connoisseurs and Fallout fans alike. And you can get yours side by side with the release of Fallout 76 on November 14th. How much would you pay?
Okay, well, do we know, is it like a full-sized bottle? Like a 750? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say $30.
You're going to have to fork out $79.99.
Ooh, ouch. Ooh.
I mean, you're getting the bottle.
That's true. It is a
You're
collector's edition bottle. Mm-hmm. I could see that price, I guess. But you said it comes out with Fallout 76 or like a bonus pre-order thing? Side by side. Okay.
Yeah, you can go get the game, and then you can go down to your liquor store and grab this too.
Okay,
Maybe.
so that's like a $200 day. Okay. You know what? I don't feel like that's unreasonable, I guess, for things nowadays and having the collector's edition bottle. I don't know that I would right away.
No. I definitely would not. If I paid $80 for something like that, it's going to last for a while.
Right. I feel like I would never want to open it.
Right. I mean, you want to try it, but it was like, I paid $80 for that, and I don't want to waste it.
It's like those old Jim Beam bottles that they used to have back in the 70s or whatever, where they had the really cool different designs on them. My dad used to collect a ton of those, but none of them were ever opened. You know what I mean? I don't know how much the going rate in the 70s would have been for something like that. It was Jim Beam after all, but
But yeah, so all right. Well, so you're gonna.
So I would buy it for $25.
You're not gonna pay. All right. So
I don't know that I would pay $80. No, I don't know that I would.
We'll find you some Nuka schnapps.
There we go. If there's some underground selling of this or something.
Yeah. It's cut with the rum.
Right.
So, all right. Let's get into some release dates. We got quite a few here. On September 11th, we have Boundless for the PS4, NHL 19 for Xbox One, V Rally 4 for PS4 and Xbox One, Nefarious for PS4. Why does that sound familiar?
I know. I was just going to say, I feel like
I don't know
I'm
that
going to have
one.
to look that up because that does sound familiar to me.
Does to me. Sims 4 Get Together DLC for PS4. Then on September 12th, we have Stay finally coming to PS4, Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation Vita. We recommend that.
Go get that game, guys. Go get it.
If you haven't seen our review and our interview with the devs, you can go to our YouTube page and see that right now. In case you were ever curious on whether or not you want to get it. We're just going to sell it right now. But there are some other games you might want to look at on September 12th, so I'll get to those as well.
Those poor schlubs sharing the release date.
There's Construction Simulator 2 for Xbox One, Grandpa and the Zombies for Nintendo Switch, Shadow of the Tomb Raider for PS4 and Xbox One, and I know that might be the bigger deal that day.
I'm excited for that one. I am, yeah.
Adios Amigos for Xbox One and PC. And this is the game everyone is waiting for. Super Seducer 2 for PC. Time Carnage for Nintendo Switch and PC. Pinball FX3 Star Wars Pinball Solo Pack DLC for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Then Revenant Dogma for Xbox One. Then we move on to the 13th. We have SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy Thief Arthur. Whew, these names.
So long.
PS4 and Nintendo Switch. Neon Wall for Xbox One and PC. Danger Mouse, the Danger Games for Nintendo Switch. I wonder if that's like Danger Mouse, the cartoon. You remember that? Did you remember that?
Yeah, that could actually be fun.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious.
Danger Mouse. Yeah.
A Hat in Time sealed the deal for PC. Have we played that? Have you played that?
I have it, actually. I've not.
Sounds familiar, too.
I've not opened it up yet. It's gotten really great reviews. I got it like on a Humble Bundle or something. I still get to play it. Backlog is real.
Yeah. The Spectrum Retreat for Nintendo Switch. In fact, a lot of these are for the Nintendo Switch, so I might bundle them in. Here we go. Seren Kagura Reflections. Reflex with an X. Reflections. Reflex. I don't know. For the Nintendo Switch. Doling's Arcade for the Nintendo Switch. Surgeon Simulator CPR for the Nintendo Switch. Defunct for the Nintendo Switch. I've got to slow down. Old School Musical for Nintendo Switch and PC.
Ooh.
And then the rest of these are for the Nintendo Switch, just so you know. I'm not going to, that way I don't have to keep cutting through this. Nefarious. Another version of that Reflections game. Sarah, I'm not going to say it again. Super Dungeon Tactics, Bastion, Shadow Fight 2, The Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and Wasteland 2, all for the Nintendo Switch. So there you go.
Nice time to have a Switch.
Yeah. Now for September 14th, not the September 14th, because that just sounds stupid, we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider for PC. Then we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna the Golden Country DLC for Nintendo Switch. Black Clover Quartet Knights for PS4 and PC. Raised for Xbox One and PC. NHL 19 for PS4. Nefarious for Xbox One. And the newest Nintendo Labo, the Toy-Con Vehicle Kit 3 for the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, those little Labo things look cute. I wouldn't buy it, but they look cute.
I wouldn't. I think it's really one of those, it's meant for children.
Oh, for sure.
You know, I feel like they would benefit more with their imagination and enjoying it than an adult would. Because when I hear adults play it and they're like, this is stupid, it's not meant for you.
No.
Stop. Go back to your other games. Stop playing.
Except for those people who were creating their own stuff. That was when I first heard about the Labo. That was what I was most excited to see. The genius for people who we're not buying your thing, but we're concocting our own thing that'll work with the same technology. Now that was what was really cool to see.
And they did give players that option, did they not?
I didn't look into it enough. I'm sure there's something to do with the way that the cardboard was cut out to work with whatever the program is that you've got to put in there for it to respond to it.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm sure it's fun for some people. Not for me. Yeah. Now it's time for...
What the hell did you just say?
Now this is our all PC games for those who might not remember. These are all PC games. You have to tell me, Lace, as the game goes, what this game is. All right. So here we go. Shooter game.
Oh, that's it. That's the title.
Yep.
Okay. I think it's kind of like a Betty's beer bar.
Okay.
And you keep throwing the shots down there. And you just keep taking these shots as little shooters until eventually the screen gets too blurry and what would be your first person falling over in first person view.
Nice. I would have imagined you to went with guns, but
Well, I figured that was the easy way out. Like, there's no way you're just going to name it shooter game and then go into it with a shooting game expectation. I mean, you got to throw a curveball.
Hey, you did good. Mad restaurant people.
Mad restaurant people. I guess the easy one would be it's kind of like a diner dash maybe. And like, but the people are, of course, on a very short time frame. And so they're getting angry and like little, wingdings will appear above their heads like it's supposed to be expletives while they throw things at the server to hurry up and get the food out.
Main character simulator.
Oh, I feel like this would just be like a paper doll kind of simulator thing where you're just like creating your protagonist to the details and what kind of traits that they would have. And then that's it.
I would probably say you're right.
And I would think maybe it would be cool if they had like face rig integration though.
Mm-hmm. That would be cool. Oh, yeah. Love game.
Love game. So like a dating simulator, I guess. Dating simulator, but it's only in the springtime.
Just in the spring?
Yeah, but I mean, the challenge would have to be you only fall in love when it's like a specific time of the day, maybe like after a rain, walking through the park. Like in Stardew Valley, you have to have the prism shard and all this kind of stuff before you can get married. There's got to be some challenge.
All right. Now this one, you're going to have to bear with me on this one.
Okay.
Kiev From Dusk Till Dawn Lenovo Explorer.
Oh my God. So it's probably like a horrible ripoff of the George Clooney movie. But of course, Kiev is the protagonist. What was the last part of that?
Lenovo Explorer.
Oh, I don't know. So in other words, Kiev is now the vampire portion of this game. And so you're now exploring to try to find all of the humans that you can feed upon.
Where humans shouldn't go.
Oh, underwater for a battle royale game.
So last side.
Right.
Intelligence dogs.
Intelligence dogs. Oh, so it's like a dog PD, right? So, and you're constantly on the hunt for like the cat doing the criminal deeds. So you're looking for the cat nabbers and all of the catnip sellers in the back alleyways. And so your job is to bring down the horrible kitten mafia. And
fair enough.
But you only play as bulldogs because clearly they would be the enforcers. Yeah.
Sure. Pixel Royale.
I hope it's not another actual battle royale, but with pixels that you're just dropping everywhere, 8 bits at a time. Although I probably would play that for like 10 minutes.
Maybe.
Kind of like those like ball blaster games, but it's with pixels down on the people. Yeah.
Welcome to Bummertown.
Aw, it's just a bunch of people who are really sad and drinking at a bar, sharing stories. And so the bummer town is the bartender is the one who's like completely bummed because they're just having to listen to this all day long.
Mm-hmm. Steven the Sperm.
Just trying to be the one that makes it, I guess. And then when he gets there, like clearly it's Steven.
Yeah.
I mean, Steven's the one who made it, man. It's a battle royale in the womb.
Cube Full of Mines.
Cube Full of Mines. Ew. To me, this sounds like it would be a puzzle game. So, like, maybe like those old ones that were on the Nintendo DS or something, where it's training your brain to do a bunch of different problems. So probably like spatial awareness type of a puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just seeing boxes and you have all these different shapes and you've got to try to figure out in the least amount of moves how to get it all to fit in whatever shape they give you.
JJ Boom.
JJ Boom. Oh my gosh. I know what I want to say, but it's controversial and I won't. So he's a very good sharpshooter, JJ, that guy. And every time his aim is perfect at the burn barrels, it just goes boom.
I like it. Boobs Puzzle.
Boobs Puzzle. Is it just a bunch of like backwoods dudes? They're the boobs, of course. You know, sitting around in the back trying to get all of the beer cans to fit back into the case.
Could be, yeah.
See, I went a different route there.
Yeah, you did. You're taking it in a whole new direction. I love it.
Maybe I'm playing the game wrong. I don't know.
No. I wanna hear the craziest answers you can come up with because we don't know what these games are. That's the beauty of this.
Yeah.
Mochi Mochi.
Oh, it probably would help if I actually knew what those words meant, huh?
Probably.
Mochi Mochi. A sushi restaurant simulator, because mochi sounds like it could be a type of sushi, and you have to earn points to get all of the different accoutrements it takes to make sushi and get it out in a timely fashion.
Okay. Mochi Sushi. That's a tongue twister.
Yes. Mochi sushi.
BFF or die.
Oh man, you're constantly talking to your friends to make them your BFF under duress, though. So it's like you have to be my friend, or this is the end of the line. So probably one of those that people would get mad about and write Steam and tell them to take it down.
Jump and run, don't fall.
Jump and run and don't fall. So it's a platformer. Clearly, I'm going to say 2D platformer. And there's maybe some air drifts that keep pushing you down. And so you've got to learn how to time it and get through whilst you're running without falling off of any of the pieces of environment that they give you.
Okay, this next one is kind of a mouthful. Every pause is a comma, just so you know.
Okay.
Angel and Devil, Ninja, Sushi, Tempura, Panda, and the Statue of Liberty.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I feel like that there's way too many different angles you could go with that. So maybe it's Ninja Angels.
Okay.
Who gets their power from eating the best sushi, probably for Moochie Moochie. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Panda is your sidekick. And you are fighting the evil that's in whatever town you probably just said to convert them all to the best sushi makers that heaven can afford.
Okay. I'll take it. Sunnyshine Funland.
Sunnyshine Funland. Ooh, this seems like a theme park kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's-ish kind of thing, though, because it has too happy of a title for it to actually be a happy game. So I'm going to say it's one of those like jump scare, showbiz pizza robots kind of fun land.
I like it. Axis Football 2018.
Axis football?
Yeah.
Not
as
like axes or axis.
No. Axis as in the worst possible way to say that.
Okay. Axis football. So it's just one guy in the middle of a field with a circle around it, and you've got to judge how far you want to spread the circle, which is determining of how much power that he has to kick the football into the goal. So kind of a geometry fun game, too, while you're at it.
Clever. And finally, Jay Walker.
Jay Walker. Oh, man. So I'm envisioning...
Word.
It's not. So
word.
J, Walker?
No, as in his name, Jay Walker.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. See, I was totally going to go with, like, what was that Frogger game? But he had to make sure that he never crossed at crosswalks. Which, screw it. That's what it's about. And, like, the whole game is, I think you're actually the driver, and you're going to try to make sure that you always hit him so he will learn his lesson to walk the extra 4 feet to the crosswalk, which was probably to his left. Not that I'm bitter about walkers in a large city or anything like that, you know.
All right. Well, that was our what the hell did you just say? So now it's time for our game review. And what are we talking about? We're talking about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Tell me
now,
about it.
I didn't have the appropriate time to usually make my eloquent reviews, so you'll forgive me if it doesn't seem as structured. However, with this game, for what it is, I feel like I could talk about it at length without really thinking about it. It's just packed with so much goodness that I feel like that a lot of it's probably already been revealed before you even get to what I'm going to say about it. what I'm going to just talk about. So I'm going to try to focus on the basics on what I feel makes it great, from what I got to experience out of it. Now, have you had a chance to play it yet?
I have not. No, I've watched,
very
little.
Very little.
Very little.
So you're kind of being on this with me, and I'm going to try to make a conscious effort not to spoil anything that could be considered that, but I just really want to talk about the game as a whole, in general. First, let's talk about the story, because I feel like this is what's going to be the thing that a lot of people are going to remember outside of a lot of other elements to it. Because this is a Spider-Man tale being told in a way that's unconventional to what we are commonly given. Most franchises focus on a young, inexperienced, or just starting Spider-Man, whereas this story thrusts us in a story where Peter Parker has been Spider-Man for 8 years. So this seems about right for an average comic book reader, but everyone else, that's a lot of baggage that might seem daunting. So you have all these villains and all these histories and stories of all these characters, so you might think, I don't know if I want to get into that. But if you're familiar with the character in any way, I feel like it's not that big of a deal, and I don't even feel like that the way that they present this story carries a lot of that baggage and a lot of that weight. You still are kind of introduced to these characters, but the story still seems like a stepping stone into a new world for this character. So almost like the right time to jump in.
Okay.
So, but even with, certain character changes and tweaks to their origins, because there's a way that I feel like people view characters like Mary Jane and Aunt May. They have this one vision of who they are. I think Aunt May gets the biggest tweak because everyone sees her as the silver-haired old, lady who can't do for herself and is always, oh, I'm sick, I gotta go, and Peter's gotta go take care of her. I think that became such a trope that everyone just is used to that. So now when we see these new takes on Aunt May, it's nice, because you're like, yeah, that's who she should be. She shouldn't be some frail old lady. She should be a woman that can do for herself.
So they've created a nice evolution of the character.
Exactly. I mean, even in other elements that you've seen in other takes, I think the very first time it was really tweaked as far as comics go is when they did an Ultimate Spider-Man storyline. So they kind of revitalized the characters in some way, and she really in that, I feel like that's where a lot of people are taking their inspiration from now, is they see what she was there, where she was a strong-willed woman who could still work, even after Uncle Ben died. She was like, I've got to take care of this house. I got to go to work. I got to do something. I got to take care of you, Peter, because you're just a kid. And despite that they have this relationship where he's wanting to take care of her and vice versa, she's always finding ways to better herself and not just kind of live in the past and be like, well, I can't do anything because my husband's dead, and what am I going to do? She's like, no, I've got to live. I got to go out in there and do stuff. So I see a lot of creators who are writing these stories now for her take inspiration from that. They just say, yeah, why can't she? So I love these takes on her. Mary Jane, she's always been one of those characters that when they make changes to her, it's jarring, but I feel like it's a step in the right direction, even though that here I'm not sure that I would have went this way. Because in the past, in comics, she's been, a supermodel, she's been an actress and stuff like that. So she's always been, the pretty girl, and she's looking for the limelight and all this stuff. And I guess that kind of worked for the time. But here they're trying to give her a reason to be involved in Peter's life. So now she's a reporter for the Bugle.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say that this is a bad thing, but there's that parallel to another hero, which is Superman.
That's what popped into my mind, yeah.
Yeah. So now she seems like his Lois Lane. And there was even a moment where they kind of ran into each other in the story where he's Spider-Man and she knows. I'll go ahead. That's
I was just going to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah, minor spoiler. She already knows. There was some similarity to that. Well, I'm here doing this, and then he's like, well, you need to kind of get the whole, the hero's trying to protect his lady, and that whole dynamic was there. And again, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just
too similar.
Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping that as the story progresses, it will not seem very much like Superman and Lois Lane. But that was a lot of what I kind of derived from that interaction.
Okay. Now in this one, is it rumors? Did they make her a playable character?
She was.
Okay.
The very first time that you run into her, you kind of have a flashback, and it's to just a few moments earlier, and then you actually get to play as her, and it's more like stealth missions, I guess would be the best way to go about it, because you're given control of her, and you're looking around, trying to take pictures of this museum for a story, and then eventually she's actually there for another reason. So once she's starting to get outed, she has to try and sneak her way through to find the evidence she's looking for the story. So
that's kind of cool.
It does. It adds like a whole new element to the game that it changes things up. So you're not just zipping around New York the whole time.
Adding like another dimension to the gameplay, so that kind of break up the monotony of just being Spider-Man. I can dig it.
Mm. So I kind of dug that. But now, like I said, as far as the changes and stuff, I feel like being a lifelong Spidey fan here really pays off. But I'm not saying in a way that if you've never really been a fan, you're not going to appreciate what's going on. I just feel like that they had these little things and Easter eggs that they put in there for long time fans, hardcore, just little things, where you can pick up on and go like, I see what you did there. Like there was a bit of dialogue I remember that I thought was clever, because it could easily be a passable line that you could just forget, you know what I mean? But if you know what they're referencing to in the dialogue, you'd be like, I see what you did. But it was, he was talking to one of the other characters, a brand new character to the series, not to the game, just in Spider-Man mythos in general. Her name's Yuri Watanabe. She's been a recent addition to the comics. She's a police detective. She may be something else here, but anyway, she was asked Spider-Man for some help. He comes and talks to her, stuff like that, and she was mentioning she had to go to an event or something like that, and he's like, oh, and you wanted me as your +1? And she's like, oh, do you have a black and white suit? And they just leave it, and you're like, okay, I see what you did. So little things like that I thought were great, and I'm sure there are tons more. I've heard about little things. I've been keeping my eyes open for little things, but I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface of what I could find in this game. Now, I've already been kind of talking about the cast. We got Aunt May, we got Mary Jane Watson. J. Jonah Jameson is in the game, and he shows up as a radio broadcaster. I really feel like they are kind of channeling Alex Jones for him.
Oh no, okay.
Because he's on his radio. He's like, I hate Spider-Man. I'm gonna tell you all the things that are wrong with Spider-Man. And this was one of those moments as a Spider-Man fan that I felt like paid off in such a way that I didn't even realize it was going to. Okay. But he was sitting there, complaining and bad-mouthing on his radio show. And this happens just randomly as you're swinging along doing stuff throughout the city. And he started complaining. He's like, Spider-Man, everyone's saying that someone called in and said, we've got all these villains and stuff like that. They're showing up in the city. And if we didn't have Spider-Man, who knows what could have happened. And he's like, no, I think it's because Spider-Man's here. They are being attracted. So it's Spider-Man's fault. We have all these villains and so on and so forth. And in my head, I said, well, you're one to talk, you son of a bitch. I said, you're the one that created the Scorpion, or at least helped fund it. And I just said that in my head and just kind of went and played it. And then a mere few minutes later, he gets back on the radio and is like, now, we've had people calling in and saying, well, you had your hand in this, and there was all this lawsuits, and mentioned the exact same thing I was thinking. I was like, damn, that was awesome.
They're really
so
nice touch.
They
there you go.
that. Yeah, so that was awesome. So, yeah, just little things like that. We've got other characters that I've yet to run into. We've seen in the trailers, like Miles Morales. I'm excited to see where he really falls into this. There's another character, Martin Lee. He seems like a great character. I know already from comics where he's going to go. So I'm curious to see how they go down that road with that character. So there were a few surprise characters. There's one in particular that I feel like I should have known was going to be there, but they didn't show him in any of the promo materials, and he was one of the first characters you run into, and I was like, I like what you're doing here. I love what you're doing with this. So I won't say who that is, but if you're a fan, you'll be giddy. I'll guarantee you that. The main draw of this game, I mean, granted, if you've seen the trailers, the graphics, they look great. Don't worry about all that
puddles be damned, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on, really? I've seen puddles, and I'm not really looking for them, but I'm like, oh, look, there's a puddle. But the main draw to this game, I feel like, is do you feel like Spider-Man? You know, anytime one of these games come out, you want to know, do you get that experience to be Spider-Man? And I feel like every incarnation that has come about before this one, they've done an admirable job. I mean, the video game adaptation of Spider-Man 2, I think it was by Treyarch, they really did. They set the standard, I feel like, you know, because when they did that, there was the Spider-Man game that came before that one. It was a level-based kind of game, you know, you had your setups, your things, and that was it. And then 2 comes around, and they're like, no, we're going to sandbox this game, and you get to be Spider-Man.
I actually remember playing that one. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
I remember before it came out, I think I was reading Game Informer or one of those magazines, and they were talking about it, and my mind just, I couldn't comprehend it, because it was like, I get to do this? You're not lying to me? I'm going to be able to swing through the city?
Yeah.
So as I'm just reading this, and I mean, my excitement just went through the roof, because I was like, if they do this, this is going to be amazing. And I guess I had just like little seeds of doubt, like maybe it's not going to meet those expectations. But I was still there, and I went out and bought it that day. And sure enough, it was just unlike anything I'd ever experienced, because I was there leaping off buildings and just swinging, and I was like, oh my God,
I feel like I
fantastic.
wasted so much time just doing that. Well, wasted, I guess, is
That's
to each
really
their own, but I spent a lot of time doing that.
But what I feel like happened here is that Insomniac took the lessons learned from all these other games. They knew what worked and what didn't, and then they only improved upon it. But then they tweaked it and added new rules to the playbook on what you could really do, because there were just things about how you swing in New York City that just are amazing. And I keep saying that, and I don't mean that to be like, Amazing Spider-Man. It's just, I don't know another word to really nail it down, because when you're swinging through the city, they found a way to make it seamless, that no matter what you do, you can keep going. Always the momentum is moving, because the mechanics of it, the physics behind it, you're always attached to something. So imagine trying to swing through Central Park. It's not as easy as you might think.
Right, yeah.
It's not. So you've got to find a way to kind of keep your momentum going. I fell into puddles of water numerous times, and I don't mean like the little puddles that people were mad about. I'm talking about the big
They'll just
ponds.
delete those ponds, don't you worry.
Yeah. I just mean like the ponds in Central Park. There, I got
It's
frustrated
a joke for
because, like,
those of
there's-
you at home. I did it.
But if you're in a well-rounded area that you've got plenty to swing from, imagine this. This happened by sheer accident, and I had to stop for a minute going, I can't believe I just did that, and it just blew my mind. I'm swinging, okay? And this is not all in the same area, but just to kind of give you an idea, you're swinging one spot to the other. You can go near the ground, kind of swing through cars or near them, stuff like that, kind of give you that dynamic element to it. You have to turn a corner around a building. You kind of swing toward the building. He immediately starts running on the building. You'll turn the corner of the building. He'll web and cut the corner, and you're still going.
Oh,
So you never,
sweet.
you're never slowed down. So you just keep that going. And I started going up through the buildings. And you know that New York has those big water towers and stuff like that, okay? I was coming up on one, and I was like, I'm going to either leap on top of it or something like that. I don't know. I nailed it to the point that he leapt through the water tower, the bottom of the water tower. Yeah.
Like,
and I didn't expect that. I thought he would leap over it or something. He went through it, and I was like, oh my God.
That's such a nice
amazing.
Touch.
Yeah. So just little things like that about how they keep your momentum going, how they do this. It was just, oh my God. And
okay, now I want to play it. Yeah.
Yeah, you feel like Spider-Man in such a way that I can't even imagine. And then of course, the music that swells up every time you go into the air, the music just kicks in. It's like it's your web swing music. So it'll automatically start once you get going, once you get moving. And it's good, but I kind of feel like it reminisces to like the Avengers in a way. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing by any means, but I also feel like they had an opportunity to kind of create their own unique theme versus lifting from something that had already been done prior. So it's just a minor quibble. It's like you could have really done something amazing here with that, but it's nothing. It's still a good score that kind of works with your gameplay. So I'm not complaining about that to the point where it's like, I can't swing like this. But when you start swinging, I'll be honest with you, when I started playing it and they gave me free reign to swing and explore, the first thing I did after I kind of got into the grounded area where they allowed me to free reign is I explored all of New York. I found every landmark and every backpack before I did any more story. And I enjoyed every minute of it.
I bet, yeah.
Because I was just like, well, let's explore. And I just swung through the city, stopping crimes and just finding all this stuff. So I unlocked so much previously, but
might make the story go super smooth for you now then. I don't know.
It might. But that's one of the things I do. I can't help it. I like to explore. If you give me side quests and side things to do before the story, I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back to the story.
Right.
You want to keep the story going, then just give me the story as a whole.
Well, you may not be able to do that side quest later on in the story either. That's how I feel, so I'm like, I got to do it now.
Exactly. You never know when it's going to stop. And that was actually something I actually learned while I was doing that. Now, as I progressed through the story, obviously new quests start to pop up. And for each thing that you do, mind you, and this will kind of lead into my next segment, you get tokens. So if you find a backpack, you get a backpack token. If you stop a crime, you get a crime token. There's research tokens and landmark tokens. There might have been another one, I can't remember. But all these are meant as collectibles to then turn for purchasing upgrades and things like that. And you even have gadgets and stuff like that and costumes, which I'll get to in a moment because I do want to talk about those. But as I was doing all this stuff, I thought once they're there, I can just do them all. But I found out is once I got handed another side quest collectible, I guess it would be more collectible, is you have to start finding these little research outposts. And I thought I would just be able to do them all. Well, at some point, they actually put restrictions on me, which I was a little frustrated at, but I was like, okay, well, fair enough, because it was like, you got to have this upgrade, or you got to have this power, stuff like that before you can do it. And I was like, all right, well, I'll come back to it. It gives me something to do later, so I'm not just breezing through it now. So, but I wasn't 100% completely angry about it, but I was kind of in this mode where I was like, well, I just wanted to get all this done now.
I'm in the mood to do it now. Yeah.
Just wanted to do it now. But anyway, like I said, you get tokens, and all this leads to one of my favorite aspects of the game, costumes. Okay, now granted you have gadgets. I mean, you can upgrade your webbing, which I thought was kind of a clever way to go about it, because this harkens back to something I've always been a big proponent of. Spider-Man needs web shooters, period. No organic webbing, crap like that. We need web shooters, because now granted, when you're webbing, you're always fine. You always have web fluid and whatnot, so you never have to stop. In combat, however, you can use your webbing and you can run out at some point. Now it'll charge back up, but you can run out. So it'll kind of keep you on your toes. So say you're punching this guy over here, punching that guy over there, and then you turn and then you start webbing up a guy, and maybe you go and turn web up another guy, then you're out. So you've got to wait for it to kind of recharge or reload if you kind of go by the mythos. So you've got to kind of keep your combat going.
Okay.
And that's another thing. I'll even talk about that before I even get into the costumes. So combat, I haven't talked about combat. Combat, man, it's a very fluid, I would even say more, I know a lot of people are going to kind of say it's a lot like Batman Arkham and stuff like that.
I was going to say, I've heard it referenced to that a lot.
I feel like they improved on that in such a way that only Spider-Man could pull this off. Because the way Batman moves in those games, I know it kind of works, but it's not Batman. You know what I mean? Kind of in that way. Here, the way they've implemented it, it's all Spider-Man. You could see him doing every single thing that happens. And at first, I had some struggles in the first level, which, I mean, it kind of blew my mind because I was like, am I being slow? Am I having trouble here? Because one of the first bosses you fight will be the Kingpin, and you've got all these, guys on you, and I just wasn't adapt to it yet, because you've got button press after button press and all these buttons that do things to kind of stop your enemies, and I was still trying to get used to it. So I died a few times, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong here? And it was frustrating. But as I play and I continue to find these large groups, I've gotten so much better that it seems like it's a second nature. Like, I know that I'm going to punch this guy. I'm going to come in, I'm going to kick this guy. I'm going to web that guy to the wall. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to swing him, and I'm going to grab that. And
causing you to learn how to play.
Yeah.
Learn how to be Spider-Man.
As if my brain has just figured out how I'm going to take care of 7 or 8 different guys on screen at the same time. Some either running at me with a pipe, some shooting guns at me. Whatever it is, I'm going to take them down, and I'm not going to get hit. And, it might not always work out that way, but my brain is starting to figure that out as I approach a situation. I'm already going to figure it out. One of the bigger issues that I had, and I think that's where this kind of became a problem with that fight with the Kingpin, because you've got these big brawlers, and you can't just take them down. They're the guys that you punch, and they'll just take the punch, and then they'll smack you around like you're a rag doll. And that's frustrating because that's what you're doing with everybody else. So you have to kind of change tactics with the big guy. And then he not only attacks you, but he charges you like a tank, and then that takes off a lot of damage. So he'll continue to do that, so you got to keep moving, you got to try to stay away from him. But, yeah, they gave me a lot of trouble because I got 2 crapped up on me, like several times when I'd be trying to stop a crime. And I was like, what am I doing? Why can't I just do it? And then somewhere down the line, I figured it out. Like, my brain said, all right, look, this is what you're going to have to do. Keep moving, and then just keep, find a way to disable them, come up behind them, whatever you got to do, but just keep moving. Don't let up. Keep moving, and you'll get them eventually. And it's gotten to that point where it all becomes second nature. No matter how intimidating it seems with all the buttons, they all feel intuitive at some point. Because you look around and you'll observe as you're fighting, and you can just figure it out. You're just like, I know what I got to do. So combat is fantastic.
There was a lot of thought put into it.
Yes, absolutely. But anyway, costumes. I was going to get into costumes. Now, we've seen, tons of costumes. If you're a fan of this, Spider-Man, over 50 years plus that he's been around, there have been numerous costumes, which didn't actually happen at first, but I think after they did the Venom costume, then it was like, well, shit, we can do costumes of all kinds, so let's just make costumes. So they've not only taken fan favorite costumes, but they found a way to implement, some of the newer costumes, like we've seen the Iron Spider armor from the Infinity War movie got implemented. Looks fantastic. I mean, it's spot on from what that is. I've seen stuff in there like the Scarlet Spider, which I don't know if you are familiar with these. If I said it, if you would know who it is, but for whatever reason, when I put that on, I wore it for quite a while.
Now, do
because
each costumes come with certain attributes, or is it just skins?
Each costume has a special suit bonus, and whatever that suit bonus is, say for example the Iron Spider suit, you actually get the big arms, like the spider arms out of the back, but it's not set to that specific suit. You can take that attribute and move it to another costume, which I think is a very awesome idea. So all these ideas and attributes
Build your
you
own
get.
Spider-Man.
But each costume has unlockable traits, and I think there's 3 slots. And then each one has, like, this will boost your defense, this will boost your offense, this will allow you to see enemies from a distance or a certain way. Just different things that kind of change it up a little bit. And I haven't unlocked enough to really see if maybe one attribute could maybe work in my favor, you know, for one situation or another. And then maybe I can swap it out later.
Right.
So I haven't really quite gotten that deep into it, but I am curious to see if something like that could benefit me, swapping them out here and there for certain situations. So that would be kind of cool. And I'm pretty sure you can swap them out on the fly.
Nice.
So you're never locked into one if you are wearing a certain suit or anything like that. You can just kind of keep them moving. I've heard that there are 28 different suits in the game, and I'm not sure if they are counting the 3 pre-order bonus suits, which were the Punk Spider-Man, the Iron Spider, and the Velocity suit, which the Velocity suit looked pretty cool too. But I've unlocked at least 10 suits, not counting those, and, 11. And that would be including the White Spider and then your classic suit that you see at the beginning of the game. And then there have been a handful of others that I've unlocked throughout, and then there's still quite a few more that I haven't unlocked, so I'm curious to see what they are. And I even saw that some outlets like IGN have said, here are all the suits if you want to look at them. I don't want to know.
Nope, I want to earn it.
You know, yeah, I want to see what each one is, because when I see it, I'm like, yeah. You know, I want to be excited about the suit when I see it.
Yeah.
You know, and see if it's something that, you know, hits me on an emotional level to be like, oh my God, that suit, yeah. So I have no idea what's left, but each level you go up, because you kind of have your experience RPG element to it. Each level you go up, you either unlock a new gadget, a new upgrade to a gadget, or a new suit, and then you can unlock those. But again, they're unlocked to a point, but then you also have to have the tokens to unlock them from that. So that also kind of encourages you to go out and do those missions. If you want that suit, you got to go out and earn those tokens. So I kind of like that idea, or that aspect of it. But, you know, I'm such a fan through and through for this character, and I feel like I could have some sort of bias, because I could be very forgiving for a lot of stuff, but I really feel like this is a great game. I don't feel like that I'm speaking with bias here. I just really, truly feel like this is the best Spider-Man game made to date, until they have their chance to make a sequel and improve on whatever needs improving.
Whatever technology is around probably at that time as well, yeah.
Because I just really don't know what more you can improve on, because even graphically, when I was talking about that, I didn't even talk about watching the character models, how lifelike they are, every little detail with skin and teeth and emotions, and it's just...
So you would say go throw your money at this if you're a Spider-Man fan?
Yes.
Definitely. Even
Even if you are not a Spider-Man fan, maybe you were just a casual fan, but you want an action, open world game that would just kind of eat up your time and just you'll enjoy, I guarantee you'll enjoy this if you just gave it a shot to just get out there and do it. I mean, I actually read that this was the first video game based on a Marvel property that actually got their seal of approval.
Oh.
And that's insane when you think about all the games.
All the games that have been made. Yeah. Wow.
So this is a game that's, I guarantee you, and I hate to say this like this, it's not going to win Game of the Year, but it's definitely a front runner.
Yeah.
It should be a nominee for sure. I know that there's going to be another game out there. I can already tell you. I know what it's going to be. but I just know that it won't be this, but it should be a front runner. It needs to be a contender just to say, hey, I was up here too. I did a great thing. And it is. It's a fantastic game. Go out there and buy this game. If you love it, or I can't imagine you'd hate this game for any particular reason. It's just so fun. So fun.
Well, I mean, if you disagree, we can discuss it in the comments too.
Yeah, for sure. Because I just the sheer fact of web swimming through New York is a selling point, bar none. I will tell you that right now. You will get lost and not even realize it because you don't feel like you're wasting your time. You're just exploring all the things that you do.
Which is what I loved about the other one, so I'd have to pick this one up at some point here.
Once
the backlog is done.
Yeah. But yeah, there's my review for Spider-Man. I know I kind of rambled on a little bit. Told you it would be a little unstructured, but I was doing my best.
Hey. Passionate about a project, man.
That's right. But that's our show. That is it. We want to thank all of our listeners who come back every week and support our show. If you're actually interested in supporting the show financially, you can go to patreon.com/pencilandpaperproductions or pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com and click Become a Patron in the top right-hand corner. Also, if you have a topic you'd like to discuss with us, you want to share a little something, just say hi, you want to tell us we're wrong about Spider-Man, you can hit us up on Twitter at SuperMegaCrash. You can drop us a line at supermegacrash@gmail.com as well. You can listen to this and other shows like Fandom Ultra 2000 on the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network, found on Apple Podcasts, Stitchers, Podbean, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you so much for listening. I am Stephen White.
And I'm Alicia Finley.
Join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then, game on!
Been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.